We did it. We are selling ammo. NazoAmmo.com. We teamed up. Keystone Munitions, quality, premium product. We're selling it online. What do? You go to NazoAmmo.com. First thing that pops up, what's this? It's an email list. What's the email list do? It's going to give you access to promo codes. It's going to give you access to events, T-shirts, apparel, everything we're doing. Get on that email list. You want 45? 45's not on the website, but then it's coming in. You're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of the guy who's just finding out about it. You're a part of the family. Very fast and furious how we do everything around here. Nazo Ammo. We are moving Keystone Munitions. Premium products. We're doing it. You want to pick up? You don't want to have it sent? You're Carl. You live down the road? Pick up Nazo at the promo code at the end. Now you're picking up ammo here. We're doing it, man. We are doing it. Nazo Ammo. www.nazoammo.com. Small town, big ammo. At Sabrachi Jewelry Design, or Sabrachi. I don't even say his name right anymore because of Zach. He's a sponsor of Now We Go, and he's a sponsor of this show. He's a dual sponsor. He's a gemologist. He's a jeweler. He's specialized in CAD design, and he's also a branding specialist. You need anything at all done in those categories, Matt is the best motherfucker for that. It's D'Antonio and Klein Jewelers in Philadelphia, PA, and he's also going to be doing it soon to be in Lehigh Valley, PA. You can call or DM for appointments. He's in Philly on 726 Sanson Street, and you can follow him on social media at Sabraki Jewelry Design. He's made pendants for finishers. We're working on stuff together. It's not just jewelry. We're working on pendants and all kinds of things. He's making rings. He can do anything that you need, from design to gems to jewelers. He is the real deal, and I'm excited. He's a childhood friend who grew a diamond business. He's a jeweler. We did a podcast with him. It's a cool story. Check him out. Sabraki Jewelry Designs. Mad J's Barbecue, www.madjsbarbecue.com. They take cash. They take credit card. You can order online. Order online is the easiest for everybody. They can also call in their order. They got 2 locations. They are killing the barbecue game. Started out small. Now these guys got 2 separate locations. They're doing catering. They're doing pop-ups at Seven Sirens Brewery. What else can these guys do? The Nazareth location is over at 52 East Lawn Road. Anybody knows where Nazareth is? It's down past 7-Eleven, right next to Rita's. Shout out Calandra. They are at 52 East Lawn Road, and that's 610-365-7275, and www.madjsbarbecue.com. Justin just opened up the second location, and he is a part of Willow Creek Brewery, and that is 643 Penn Avenue, West Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be having these guys on the show, and they are crushing barbecue, catering, in-store, pickup. They're doing it all, man. They're doing it all. Check them out at madjsbarbecue.com, and thank you for being a sponsor. Precision Laser. Precision Laser is a family-owned aesthetic laser practice in Easton, Pennsylvania that was founded in 2019. They offer laser hair removal, laser tattoo removal, vascular and pigmented lesion removal, acne treatment, and more. Their team of licensed experts use cutting-edge technology and safe laser protocols to deliver you the best skin results throughout Easton, New Jersey, and the greater Lehigh Valley. They provide free consultations and affordable pricing to make laser treatments accessible to you all. To learn more about their services or book an appointment, please go to precisionlaserspecialist.com or call 484-306-0089. They are located at 42 South 3rd Street in Easton, PA, 18042. What are they running this summer? Hair removal. I'd like to get this whole thing removed because what do I want? A summer beach bod. They are running for $165 per session. You pick 2. Armpits, bikini Brazilian, upper legs, lower legs. This is what we're doing with them. I'm excited to have them, and I'm excited for them to be working with us. They're on the podcast. You can check out everything they're doing on the website, and thank you for being a sponsor. Look good this summer. Look good. Never Again Radio episode. This is probably 195. I'm not sure. We pulled it off.
We did it.
I went to Walter's months ago, and then we we had it scheduled, and then there was that tornado went through, and then you were like, yo, dude, I got to batten down the hatches. And then you got married, and then now we're back here. Angelo, Mind Machine on Instagram, who's been on the show, I believe he shared something you did, and I was like, hot dogs. I love hot dogs. I love every form of hot dogs. So for me to come down there was a special day, and then meeting you, and you were just so open to show me everything and how it all worked, and you got into the story a little bit, and I was like, I cannot wait to podcast. First off, I want to thank you for even driving here. It's I think almost 2 hours, so that's also why I was like, I cannot ask him to come up here and not drive down there. How the hell did you get into the hot dog business?
That's a great question. It runs in our family, right? It's something I grew up with. My great grandfather started it in 1919. I've always thought it was the coolest business ever, and I always wanted to be involved in it in some way, shape, or form. So seeing it, growing up with it, and then being able to carry the business with my other family members, that next generation, we're third and fourth generation running it now. The sense of pride that comes along with it, it's just like, there's nothing else I'd rather do. This is what I was meant to do. This is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like complete fulfillment. And also to know, I really believe our family, my great-grandfather Walter, my grandfather Gene, that they'd be proud with.
Oh my God,
everything.
yeah.
So,
what was it like growing up? Because I mean, you helped out when you were younger?
Yeah, so my responsibilities growing up were watching my grandfather make the ice cream and the Italian ice.
Yeah, because you just don't, it's not just hot dogs.
I was in charge of quality control. So I had to make sure that the lemon Italian ice was amazing, that the homemade vanilla, chocolate, strawberry ice cream was just fine. So at the age of 7 and 8 years old, I was
a connoisseur.
I was quality control.
That's huge, though, to get that at a young age and then to understand what, I mean, because there's so much that happens growing up, and then there's so many things that you miss, but then to have your grandfather teach you where he wants the quality of the business is like such a thing to hand off to somebody, because later in life, he would know that it would be at that level.
Yeah, so we grew up about 45 minutes away from where the business is, but, you know, my grandfather, Gene, is synonymous with Walter's. You know, his father Walter started it. That was his life. He lived to be 95 years old, and 65 of those years were owning Walter's. So
that's so crazy.
He knew it better than anyone.
Yeah.
So to see him and to see how he would treat customers and go out of his way for people, and how he cared so much about the little details about how they would open the buns, to how they would split our hot dogs, and the cooking process that I'm sure we'll get into.
100%.
To making the ice cream and the Italian ice, it was just what he loved to do. So naturally, loving him and I love to be around him. So just watching him do that and just thinking I had a big responsibility to just be like, oh, of course the lemon Italian ice tastes amazing. But I was just like, yeah, Pop, it tastes great. Like, can I have some more? You know, so just...
I need to double check that.
Yeah, one more time, please.
My friends also need to double check.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, I'd bring my friends because they thought it was so cool. And, I mean, that's really what it was. I always wanted to grow up and be a part of it. I never knew in what capacity, right? Because we were a small family-owned and operated business. So where do I fit exactly? And it's really amazing to see how that's, you know, what we've done over the years and how we all fit into these roles. But it was just, again, a real sense of pride seeing his love, his passion for the business, how much he cared about it to make sure that everything was perfect in the most genuine, but just, you know, in the most passionate way possible. It just resonated with people that when they were coming, it was more than just them purchasing a hot dog. There was just so much more that went into it.
I mean, and for me to go down there and then see where the actual location is, and you have this whole like area off to the left, and then I was like, man, like there's like lights and the atmosphere, and I'm like, there's a whole like basically a small grove that you can like go and enjoy the food at. And then, you know, then you also had the people that were coming there, and then and then you have the school across, and my mind was just like, holy shit, like this is set up in so many facets for every experience for you to enjoy it, whether you're going to pick up food and you're going, back to work, or you're going there to just have lunch and you sit on the hill at school, or if you've traveled there with your family and now you have a place to sit and enjoy it, and it's not, it's really nice. And then you have the whole parking lot area, because I didn't know what I was going to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be something like where, it's like those New York corner shops where you got to drive around till you get parking, like how Mama's 2 is. And then that I didn't know what to experience. And then when I got to like the small town, I was like, ooh, because I love that. Like, I'm sure it's similar when you came here. It's just a small, simple town.
Yeah.
But then because of living in one, they're easy to navigate. So then I kind of got relaxed. And then when I pulled up, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this whole parking lot, you don't got to worry about parking. And then the whole area on the side. And then when you started taking me through the tour of the whole thing, it was just, it's crazy how much it all works together. Now, where did it all start? Like, what was the first hot dog made? What was the first step towards them cutting it and figuring it out? Like, I'm sure I want to walk it through the moment that first one was made all the way up until how you're using social media to get this further and where it's at now. But I want to know the old story before, it was word of mouth that people had to buy a hot dog. It wasn't, you know what I mean?
We need a series just on this topic to go over the past 102 years. But no, it was great. Listen, my great-grandfather, Walter Warrington, he was an immigrant from Italy, came over to Ellis Island in the late 1890s, and he had an entrepreneurial spirit. He lived that American dream at the time in the early 1900s. And he was in his early 20s when he wanted to open up businesses. So at that time, coming to Mamaroneck, New York, again, we're about 30 minutes from New York City, right? We're a harbor town in Westchester County. That road was a main gateway in the early 1900s to New York City, to all the nightlife and everything that's going on. So he wanted to create a roadside hot dog stand. And he wanted to come up with a recipe for a hot dog that would taste like no other, because at the time, hot dogs, again, they were so cheap in the early 1900s. And it was almost like a mystery meat. Like, what's really inside it? What are you eating? And he wanted it to really stand out. So the way he decided to come up with the recipe is a blend of beef, pork, and veal, which is not typical for a hot dog. He wanted to grill the hot dogs, not really boil them. He wanted to split them down the middle so that you created more surface area, almost like a sandwich. And he wanted to toast the buns. And he came up with a secret sauce that we were able to grill our hot dogs in, which is butter-based, and also use that to toast our buns as well.
Yes.
And then take that magic and then come up with a mustard recipe and then use that. And again, in the early 1900s, when you're talking about condiments, there really wasn't a lot of condiments to go around. People weren't putting chili, cheese, onions, mayonnaise, anything on their hot dogs.
Fritos.
Right. It was just this way. And, I'm proud that we've continued that. We're very simple in what we do. It's our hot dog. It's our recipe. It's the way we cook it, the ingredients that go into it, our homemade mustard, and that's how we do it. So the simplicity of it all as well is what I really feel has carried over the years, because we don't need to cover it up with a million toppings for it to taste really good. It's right there.
That was my favorite thing about it is, I've eaten so many hot dogs, and I've eaten, there's a hot dog place, Potts in Nazareth, that I grew up on, and that's when I first kind of fell in love with a hot dog, and it was like the experience, and it's still like that, where you go in and you got to wait in line, and they get a bag and they got a counter you can eat at, and then there's a park across the street with 2 benches, so it hasn't changed, and I like the simplicity of what they do, but they have other toppings like their chili and cheese and all that, but then when I started really getting into hot dogs and food, when somebody makes something correctly and it's very simple and they do it right, it's usually my favorite way, because you're eating it the way that they wanted you to enjoy it.
That's exactly right.
And when I went down there and I got the dog and I just bit into it, I was like, oh, because then it's like you have the butter, the unique dog, then the mustard, then the toasted, and it's like layered correctly, because I was like, watching how you guys make it, and I'm like, man, it's not so much, well, it's the ingredients, but it's also the layer of the flavor and everything that went into it. And it was one of the biggest takeaways was how simple it was, and then how it was not changed at all for the generations. Now, when did it turn into an actual business that, he started selling it, and then how did it come the generations down?
Yeah, so he he started off on the side of the road just as a little stand. And if you Google Walter's Hot Dogs, like original stand 1919, you'll see a picture of it, and it's wild. And he just had, hot dogs, apple cider. He sold bushels of apples, and then he basically grew that business. And then in 1928, he built the Pagoda, which again he wanted to build something that would look like no other building to really match the hot dog. And he was fascinated by Chinese architecture. And again, we're talking about the 1920s. And he came up with the Pagoda.
That's so cool. I Googled what you said, the original stand, and then the Pagoda is the first thing that came up. And that was the most unique thing about it as well, is it's not like a regular looking place.
Right.
Like it's got the Pagoda vibe.
Right. So
I thought that place used to be a restaurant, and then it went under, and you guys turned it into a hot dog shop.
Some people say that the Chinese restaurant that sells hot dogs.
Yeah.
But no, that's what it was. So if you're driving through Mamaroneck, New York, and you're like, what is this place? Like, you wouldn't know, right? But because it's this residential town with the high school right across the street, and here you see this, giant Chinese pagoda right there, and that's what he did. So proud of him at the fact that in the 1920s he survived the Great Depression, and was able to grow his business to create the pagoda, which is it's become a national historical landmark here in the United States.
Yeah, because you have the sign next to it where it tells the history of it.
Yeah. So for over 10 years, it was named the National Historical Landmark in the United States.
And then it's not just the pagoda. Like, you have the lanterns out there, and then it's like a whole... Because the lanterns, that was the main concern you had on why you couldn't come up here, because you're like, yo, I can't... And then I was like, it's so cool that, you give a shit about... It's not that you wouldn't, but you were like, yo, I can't, I got to make sure these lanterns, you care so much about a business that was turned in, to be, you really care about the family business.
Yeah. I mean, again, when Ida came, it just ripped through Mamaroneck as a whole. We're really lucky as a business because I have friends that have businesses in Mamaroneck that are still closed, and, they suffered a great loss, and it's still a sad time in the area. And we knew that this was coming, and those lanterns are over 100 years old.
Yeah, they're huge too. They're not small. They're huge. And
this is an original building, so anytime something like that comes, our focus as a family is we need to protect this business, because it means so much to us. And we also know that's the love, the blood, the sweat and tears that my great grandfather Walter put into it. My grandfather Gene. It was of course they would do that. They would probably stand there the whole time during the store to make sure everything was okay. It was just their love that, the love of the business and the love that they had for everything. So
when he first opened that and acquired it, now there's a piece of property there. Now the house behind it, that was his home at the time.
Yeah, that was his home.
Because that was a cool part of it where you were like, yeah, they lived up there. We have an office in there now. But I was like, man, so he lived his life running that business.
Right. And the crazy thing to that too is my grandfather, behind that house are some railroad tracks, and on the other side is where my grandfather lived, Gene.
Yeah.
So he always just wanted to be close to his business. But it's over an acre of land. You see the pagoda there. We have a huge parking lot for customers, and then we have this picnic area that's just really multiplied over the years. And then across from it, we have Hot Dog Hill for people to sit as well. But it's a whole experience to come to Walter's. It's not just come, grab a hot dog, take off. It's we want you to come. We want you to enjoy the experience. And I still feel like it's like a hallowed ground when I'm there. It's just the history that's tied to it.
Yeah, and you can feel that when you go there because it's not just waiting in line to get food. There's that's the house in the background. And then when did the school start getting involved where they started coming over, and then the students, because you were like, yeah, the students, and then I was like, oh my God, I would have given anything to have a hot dog shop across from the school.
That was wild. Yeah, it was just... So a quick story about that is that, in the 1970s and the early 80s, it was a closed campus, and the high school kids would sneak out and run across the street to Walter's.
That's so awesome. But the teachers probably were like, get me one.
Right. But they would have almost, security that would come by Walter's to check for the students,
get out of here.
To punish them.
Yeah.
So whenever my grandfather would see the guy coming from down the hill, he'd tell all the students to come inside and hide in Walters. Which
That's
is
so awesome.
That was my grandfather genes. So it was like, again, his just love for his customers, the people, and everything. It was just like he would do whatever he could for people. But that was just like a little thing. So I don't know. It was just generations, generations of students that would come. They would come to Walters. A lot of them, it was their first job. My grandfather was huge on that to teach real life business skills at such a young age and hire people.
It's huge to do that now.
Yeah. And he would take these 14, 15, 16-year-old, high school students, and he would say, all right, you're going to learn customer service and how to speak to people and how to treat people well and communicate with them and how to work together as a team and how to work in a fast-paced environment and, all these types of things. And it was just something that really caught on too. So we're really proud as a business to really have so many high school students as well. It's like their first real world job experience.
Yeah, and I was, now that you point that out, like when I came there and met the staff, it was like, it wasn't like no one didn't know what they were doing. Like everyone had their station and their responsibilities, and you could tell all of them knew that. So, I mean, you saying that, I can tell you that it's been passed down to where how you handle your employees, they definitely all felt like they had a job. This is my responsibility. And like to put that into kids at a young age is huge because it's life skills you use later in life.
Right. And even now, things have changed the last 10, 15 years, especially with cell phones and how people can easily become distracted at work.
Yeah.
And we say, this is not a clock in, clock out job. This is not a place where you're going to be on your phone all day and just kind of hang out.
No, it was not like that with anyone.
But one of the things we do is we teach and say is, we want you to learn early on to own something and to have a responsibility. And if this is your position today and this is what you're going to do, we want you to own it. And you saw that. So, we're really big on cross-training. We don't just hire one person to do one job.
You have to do that. I've worked in plenty of kitchens, and if you don't start learning the different jobs, if you are able to learn all the jobs, then now you're a huge asset to the business because if somebody calls out or, your shifts can change, like you can start being a multi-use through any job in there. If you just know, okay, cool, I know the fryer, you're just going to hate coming into work because all you're doing is dropping the fryer. But if you move around and then you have more responsibilities, you're going to be able to, you're just going to want to be there more because you can help out more. And then they're a bigger asset to the business. So you can earn more money doing it that way. But just to come in and do the same thing over and over and over again, your turnover rate of kids would just be insane.
Yeah. And that's something too, to have people think about as well, is that you have earning potential. Even though this is a fast casual business or so, you have earning potential, and you can gain responsibility to do things. And I think that type of cross training as well it helps reduce the burnout as well. Like you said, of just someone dropping fries every day.
Absolutely.
So it creates a little bit more momentum, longevity, opportunity as well. So that's something that we're definitely proud of.
When did it start becoming known to you that you were going to be a part of the business? Because I'm sure. I know you grew up in the business, but I don't know if you were going in a different direction or if your grandfather had plans to always bring you in. But when did you kind of feel like there was a role for you and that you could step in and start making this kind of the next generation transition?
Yeah. So living 45 minutes away from where the business is, summers for grade school, high school or so, I would work in the summertime and I'd stay with my grandparents or so, and then graduated college, and then went immediately into my MBA. And after I graduated my MBA in 2007, I wanted to start a food truck. I really wanted to get involved in the business in that way because I would see how the family would talk about, we got asked to do this wedding or we got asked to do this festival or this party, and we don't really have the means to do it. And I thought that would be a great opportunity. And for whatever reason, we never pushed the button, went forward, and just, did it. And I had all these big ideas in, 2007, 2008, but I didn't really have a lot of experience, So it was really a thing where my family kind of instilled in me is if you really want to be a part of this business, you need some real world business skills. You can't just kind of come into this business that these generations of family members have really built up and just, think you're going to be handed something. You need the experience. So
that's huge that they did that for you.
Yeah, at the time I was pretty upset about it. Right, I was in my early 20s or so.
Oh my God, early 20s.
Yeah, I was in my.
You don't know nothing.
Right. Right, with all these big ideas, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have the experience to really back it up, so I really went off and I did my own thing for about 6 years. I owned a marketing and sales company, and I had a few locations around the country, a couple hundred employees, and I worked with some Fortune 500 clients. And I was able to really take that experience, and in 2012, my grandfather at the time was, 90 years old, and he really said, for this business to continue, we'd need new blood. We need the next generation to come in. And at the time, I was living in Maryland, and I would commute from Maryland 3-4 days in a row to go up and just learn the business. Just from how they want the floors mopped correctly to washing the dishes correctly and the flow of things and learning the stations and getting the workstations down and actually, spending the time to cut the hot dogs and make the milkshakes and how to make the ice cream and everything that we do there. And it really took some time. So in 2013, I really joined the business full time. And we actually closed the business for 5 months to completely renovate it and bring it up to the 21st century. And
what were the steps in doing that? I mean, was it that far off or was it?
Well, the business had grown.
Yeah.
Right. At that point, the business was almost 95 years in business, and it's just grown from generations of customers and is, very popular.
And then with social media being a thing?
Social media really starting to kind of come about or so. And we said, we really have to get up to speed. We really want to add, POS systems.
Yeah.
And
that probably would saved so much time.
Right. We just want to simplify things, and we really want to get the flow of the kitchen to really work well, and the flow of customers with where they're ordering and where they're picking up.
All that's so important.
Yeah. So we really took the time to do that and to speed things up. And, it's something that we're really proud of. There would be, even though we were closed, there would be a line of customers that would show up every day, and they were so angry that we were closed, but we said, just patience. We got this. And, once we were able to reopen in this new type of format, obviously everything was the same as far as the menu and the products and what we were serving, but the flow of how we did things was so much faster. So we now were,
that's so much less stress on employees too. And you.
Right.
Like, all right, cool. We can do double the amount of business and, get triple the amount of hot dogs out to people because now we're in a faster thing. And then once you have that dialed in, now you just have a machine.
Right.
And then it's just like, then you just kind of need to keep the machine going, replace, the people in the right places and kind of just have everybody rotate in and out. Like,
right.
I mean, it's crazy going down there and then now digging into all this because when I stood back there, you could see what it was, but I couldn't put my finger on it because until you explain like the shutting down and setting it up, but it literally was from one end to the other, to what this person did, to that person did, to this, and then you had the ice, and then it's like, because you were getting me food in between the people already having food, but it was literally just adding something into the traffic of the dog going, the dog going.
Exactly.
It's cool to now have walked through your entire setup, but then now to hear how it all happened, it's pretty remarkable that you guys put all this together because you're taking a product that you keep the same, but now you have to keep up with the times because now it's going to be 10 times busier because of social media and everything else. And then, now it's getting out further. There's advertising, all the things that weren't being done way back in when because it wasn't a thing to do. But then to be able to even survive because then it would just turn into bad reviews because it's like, oh, you go to Walter's and you can't even get a hot dog for 3 hours and, people on Yelp yelling at you.
Sure.
But and then there's some people that wouldn't even shut their place down for 5 months because they'd be afraid of losing that money. But if you look at the long, well, we're going to make all that money back because we're going to be able to do twice the amount every day and then like really dial it in.
Yeah.
Hats off to you guys for just even putting that together. And was that kind of your role coming in, was to just organize, set this machine up, get it going, and then now they trust you because you ran this marketing and sales business. So now you have an inside person who knows that world, and then to turn the hot dog place into a little version of that.
Right.
But still keep the originality of it. I mean, how hard was that for you to do with the space? Because it's not a big space.
It's not big at all. No. So again, you're talking about, a business that's been there for 100 years. It's a historical landmark, so we can't really change the interior. And, it's grown over the years, right? So we have this demand of customers, and our output is the volume is so much more than what it was.
Yeah.
But we're still working.
I think I came down on like a random.
It was a weekday.
It was a weekday,
Yeah.
and it was busy.
Yeah, no, there.
In all assets, the lines were there. I don't know if the kids were coming over when I was there, but like the garden area was full.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Holy crap, man! Like this thing is just. I mean, I couldn't imagine on like a rush,
Right. I mean,
on a Friday.
God bless
When
us.
do you get hit the hardest?
Saturday. I mean, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. I mean, every day, 12 to 2 o'clock is.
Yeah.
People are going to wait 10, 15, 20 minutes or so online. And, even on the weekends, the line can get,
Down the block.
a couple blocks.
That's so crazy.
But
what was it like the first time? And I want to stay where we're at, but I want to pivot off here. What was the first time when because you had to have driven by a 3-block line and been like, what the hell is going on?
Right. It's like, and as a customer, you could say, well, what's going on in there? But if you see everyone is working as fast as they possibly can, we're pumping out as much as we can. And also,
digging out of the trenches. You're in the weeds and let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, we're breaking sweats.
Everybody's
left and
talking
right.
to each other.
Right. And you kind of saw it. It's just this machine with everyone just head down, get the job done one after another, and make sure everything is done correctly. But also, too, our hot dog is a labor of love in the fact that, we don't just boil it for like a minute or two.
No, there's steps.
From beginning to end, it takes about 7 or 8 minutes to cook every single hot dog, right, with our cooking method. So when you're talking about thousands and thousands of hot dogs every day, and each one of them could take 7 or 8 minutes to cook from beginning to end.
Yeah, because it's like you take it and then, do you want to walk through the process?
Yeah, let's do it. So our hot dogs, we put down our secret sauce, which again, we'll kind of talk about Goldbelly later. But the cool thing about it is that we now have our take-home kits where you can actually make this at home.
I did it too.
Yeah.
And it was...
and it sounded you did it pretty well too.
Yeah. No, I love cooking hot dogs, and then with cutting it down the middle and stuff. And it's tomorrow I told you we're doing that Halloween podcast. Right. So the one guy, the Nice Slice, he makes pizza, and then McCall Brewery's coming on, so he's bringing beer. And I was just going to make smash burgers, but then when you showed up with the kit, I sent him a picture, and I was like, today's guest is tomorrow's food, so they're all pumped. And,
awesome.
And then that's cool because I'm excited to make the little hors d'oeuvres, and we'll get into all that.
Right.
But so what are the steps of when you go?
Yeah, so we have our secret base sauce, right, which is butter-based, which we cook our hot dogs in, right? And we want to brown them on each side, which takes a few minutes.
Is the dog cut yet or no?
It's not cut yet. We wait till it's brown on each side or so, and then we take the part that's not brown, slice it down the middle. So that's going to allow us to really get the best grip on the dog, get a nice right down the middle cut. Once we kind of have it cut down the middle, put down the secret sauce, put a brick on top of that hot dog.
Yes.
Let that cook for about 2 minutes or so. And in that meantime, we put down our bun, secret sauce, put it down so that bun has this like nice buttery toasted flavor to it.
Yeah. So everything you're doing is being cooked in the sauce.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once that happens, again, it's either Walter's mustard, which it's our own brown mustard, which we blend with a little bit of relish. So it adds a little bit of a sweet kick to it as opposed to a spicy mustard. Or you can have ketchup, which ketchup we added in like 1990.
Yeah. Was that just from so many people being like, do you have ketchup?
Probably.
Yeah. Because I even doing the pop-ups with the burgers, like you want everyone to eat it the way it's made. And it's hard sometimes for people to understand that. But I think when I first started getting into enjoying a medium rare burger because somebody told me, I'm like, well, what do we get on it? And he's like, let's eat it the way it's made. So then ordering food and eating became different to me. So like when I do the smash burger, I want you to experience what I put together for you. Right. But some people don't realize that. So they're like, can I get a burger? Can I get ketchup with that? And they're still asking to the point where I might just start having ketchup out on the table because I'm just, one, it's like you do disappoint somebody who doesn't want ketchup, but like you hear it so much where I'm just like, yeah, man, just put a bottle of ketchup out there. I'm tired of it.
Listen, and as a small business, I mean, we're in business to make a profit, of course. So we don't want to lose customers.
No.
And we don't want to turn somebody away. But yeah, it's the fact that it's just like when you go to a restaurant and you see a description of what your dish is made from. This is how we do it. And it may sound simple now compared to the hundreds of toppings you could put on a hot dog now. But 102 years ago when we founded the business, this is how it was done.
Yeah.
And, we really are proud that we've been able to kind of stick to that. And, sure, we've added a couple of little things along the way to enhance it, whether that be like, a gluten-free bun or the toasted pretzel bun, or we make our puffy dogs now.
I forgot about the toasted pretzel bun.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta come back down. Angelo was so mad that I didn't call him.
Oh, man. So my latest kick right now has been our single hot dog on the toasted pretzel bun as a puffy dog, where we take our potato puffs, or the mashed potato bites, smash them on the grill in our secret sauce, and then
that was cool to see how that came about, because it was people were asking to do it off the food truck.
Yeah, so one day we launched our food trucks in 2015, and in 2016, we were at an event and we just said, I wonder how the potato puffs would taste on our hot dog. It's our product, it's a regular menu item. So let's smash it on the grill. Let's put some secret sauce on it. Let's add this buttery mashed potato crunch to the hot dog, and let's see how it tastes. And it just took off with the trucks, and that was something that our food trucks have allowed us to do, is really test pilot some products.
Yeah.
The puffy dog was one of them. Our funnel cake sticks that we offer.
I had those. I'm so hungry right now. Because you're bringing back everything. Like, I forgot about the puffy dog, and I was like, oh my God, that's right, the puffy dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's the other thing, is that you have that simplicity of the regular dog, but then you have so many different other things there where you can get the puffs, and then the funnel cake, and then you had the smoothies, and then and then now I'm even remembering there was all, because you were so over the top with like, hey, try this, and then I was like, yo, I have to still drive home. I'm gonna fall asleep. Like there was too much to get into where you can, but I love that because now you have an excuse to come back for more, and you have an excuse to try different things. And then you guys are ever evolving. I want to get back into the food truck for a second, because that was an idea that you had brought and they wanted you to learn the business. So now when you shut down and you got everything back in kind of like a fully running, operational, nuanced way to do it, but keeping the nostalgia of the hot dog, now in the back of your head, I bet you the whole time you're like, I'm going to get this back up, and then we're going into my idea with the food truck.
Yeah. So
How was that? Because I looked into doing different food truck stuff because of just over the years, and it's not easy to get into a food truck.
Right.
There's a lot of money you got to put in it. Plus, there's permits. Like, there's different areas that allow you to do different things. What was it like getting the food truck going for Walters?
Right. So,
because you're also running Walters.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So we're going to be going into our 7th year as a food truck business. So we've learned a lot along the way. But I think what's important to mention too is that I don't do this alone.
Yeah.
And, with our manager, Kevin, who's been with us for over 12 years. And we were like a perfect storm, because my sister, Christine, really managed the business for a long period of time. And we really kind of came in to help assist her and kind of really help grow the business. So I left my career in 2013. My mother left her career as a college English professor. My sister, Catherine, left her career working in hospitality and public relations. And we all joined the business in 2013. So we now all kind of learned the business and took on all these different roles. So because of that, working together as a family and as a team, we were able to, all right, we've got the business on point now. We opened up, we've got the flow of things down. Now what can we do? And of course,
you were like, yay.
Right. I have an idea right here, please. No, but in 2007, remember 2007, I really wanted to start a food truck.
Yeah.
So we're now talking, 7 years later. And I had the experience now of really learning the business and the product and really the flow of things.
And so much time to let that idea breathe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it took us almost a year to really launch that business from 2014 to 2015, just with, the concept of how is this food truck going to be used? What are we doing? Is it just going to be parked somewhere? And originally, we just wanted to use it as an overflow to the line of customers in Mamaroneck.
We said
if we
that's a good idea too.
That's originally kind of like what we thought is let's just use this.
Cut the line in half.
Right.
Now you got 2 buildings.
Right, and we can do everything.
And you have the space to do it.
Yeah. And so that was kind of our intention going into it. And then in 2015, once we announced that we launched the food truck, the phones started ringing about private parties and weddings and bar mitzvahs and 3-year-old birthday parties and
stuff you probably never even thought that you'd be going to.
Bachelor parties and golf courses and country clubs and movie sets, and we're just like, wait, what are we doing? This was gonna just, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's not that we weren't thinking big. It was just we didn't know that it was really possible. So now we kind of, once day one started, we completely changed the concept of our food truck. And we really turned it into a private food truck business where about 75% of all of our business is private. So 2015 from, we would do about 500, 600 events in a year. And for a year in the food truck business in New York, that's about 8 months out of the year, right? Because, November, December, January, February, it's a little difficult with the cold weather. But we learned so much, and we saw that we were turning down a lot of business because now it's like, the business at the time was over 95 years old. So just the generations of customers that now were able to bring Walters to their home or to their party in a mobile way, it just really took off in our community. And in 2016, we said we need another food truck.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Exactly, right? And so we launched our second truck in 2016. And, it's a monster in and of itself in the fact that, it's a labor of love in all that we do. We keep it to the same level of standards in what we do, but we've now literally put our pagoda on wheels, to bring it to people. And we've learned a lot. It's been an amazing experience. It's something that I love. When I leave here today, I'm going back to Westchester to go for a food truck event tonight. But that's really how it started. We saw that demand was there. We saw that customers wanted us to be around for their special moments, whatever that may mean to them. And from there, it just really kind of took off into its own thing. So we're really proud of the business that it's become. It's a lot of work. And I always say, I teach a food truck course at a local college in Westchester. And the majority of students that come in are people that are retiring or people who own restaurants. And a lot of them, though they have the type of experience, they may have an idea of what they think goes into a food truck and maybe how easy it's going to be. We're going to just kind of park it somewhere and it's going to be fine. But there is so much more that goes into a food truck. It's a whole nother business. And I'm really proud of the experience that we had from it. And I'm really proud that my grandfather, while he was alive, really got to see the food trucks take off.
Oh, absolutely. And then the fact that you're teaching a course, I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine that does pop-ups, and he was telling me about two local trucks that were they were doing a course. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know you could attend stuff like that. But I mean, for you to be able to do that for people in Westchester or anyone who wants to drive, over an hour to go to that class, I mean, that'd be so huge, because I remember looking into this years ago and there wasn't anyone explaining how these food trucks work.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
We had no idea until we really started. And in 2015, there was still the food truck scene was kind of growing, but especially in Westchester County, outside of New York City, it was still a very, very small scene. Just a couple of, local ice cream trucks that you'll see in neighborhoods and just a couple of food trucks, but it's nowhere near what it is now. And we've seen it just explode, of course. But it's exciting because we've learned so much along the way to kind of be able to pass that knowledge on to people who really have a desire or a passion to kind of start this type of business. It's awesome, right? But then to see them kind of start their own business, and then a couple of years later, we're doing events together and becoming friends.
That's cool.
It's a really cool feeling. So, yeah, that's something that I'm really proud of is the food truck side of things.
What was it like? Because I'm sure it was fun. Because I just, on a very small level, I see how much doing the pop-ups have grown, and it's always just fun to be like, hey, we're getting into here. What was that like to get a call for catering to a movie set? Because when you told me you did that, I'm like, oh, well, it makes sense because you're close to the city. But then at the same time, I'm like, man, that must be so surreal to be on a movie set. Like, and then driving there, probably the nerves of going there and being like, holy shit, like we have this business that's been I mean, it's probably so bizarre sometimes for you to look where it's all going and how far it's come, because there's stuff we didn't even get into yet with selling the mustard and the Gold Belly. Right. And then, you know what I mean? Like, but to have taken something that way back before, anyone was even alive, selling hot dogs, and then to do it, like, that was on my ride home. I just kept thinking, like, wow, like what they've done with that idea in the business, and then to keep it in the family, and then to do what you guys are doing. How surreal was that to get a call to do what was the call for the first movies?
Oh man, it might have been Girl on a Train. It might have been that movie, but over the years, we've done so many different TV shows and movie sets, from the TV shows Blind Spot, Ray Donovan. We've done some movies for Julia Roberts, Emily Blunt, Jennifer Lawrence. She's hired us a few times. She actually hired us for Robert De Niro's surprise birthday party
That's
at his restaurant in Brooklyn. And you're seeing Lenny Kravitz come out and take down a couple of hot dogs. But
It's got to be so surreal.
Every time it's this mystery behind it, because who wouldn't want to drive, for us that we love our food truck, to drive our Walters food truck onto a movie lot and just kind of give a little honk while we're, passing the actors along the way. But, Power, Ray Donovan, we were just on the season opener of Blue Bloods. We were on God Friended Me. We've done quite a few things.
And then now you were saying that they're starting to use the truck as a prop in the background for scenes?
Yeah, so it's movie sets, TV sets can hire us for a few reasons. They can hire us to feed their cast and crew. They can hire us to be a prop on their show. Whether we're actually in it serving food or they just need a food truck there as a design. So, being able to
But you have a cool looking truck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But being able to kind of see our truck as like a prop, but also to kind of see everything that goes on to making this movie or a TV show, even if it's just for a few days or just for a few hours, it is surreal every single time. One of the coolest things we did recently too was the TV show The Marvelous Mrs Maisel. And just to see that no matter how famous someone may be, but they can just kind of bring it down to just like, that they're enjoying our hot dog, and you see that they're enjoying it, and then they come back and they'll say, "Is it cool if I have another one, please?" And we're like, "Of course."
It just like, what's awesome is like the simplicity of the hot dog, and what's put into it is now bringing the people down to, I'm just having a good hot dog. You know what I mean? Then now it breaks down the whole ensemble of everything, and then now you're just kind of talking about food.
Yeah, no, that's
got to be really cool, because then it's like you're seeing them as a person, which, you know what I mean, that most people don't get, and then food is such a thing that you can enjoy and share. And what's awesome is that through the generations, that ingredients has made somebody's mood change. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you put love into food, and I say this all the time, and you know how to do that, and you put care into it, you could taste that, because then you see the people smile, or they're like, yo, this hot dog. But I mean, from that to be all the way back from when it started all the way to now, where you can give it to, a bigger than now person, and then that moment brings them down to just, this is a really good hot dog. That's got to be cool, because now you bring them to a level of just conversation about the hot dog.
Exactly. And that's one of the coolest things, is you get to kind of see them in that element where food brings people together, and you can just talk casually to somebody and kind of see the enjoyment and fulfillment of it all.
Even when I took a bite of it, I saw how you were so happy to see me enjoying it. Like that hasn't gone away from you.
No, not at all, because
you love it.
Yeah. It means so much. It's more than a hot dog,
Yeah.
And that, again, the pride that goes into it, sometimes the weight on the shoulders as well. But all of those things, that's why we do it. It's to introduce someone new to it. It's to see the smile on their face, and to kind of get it as well. Like, this has been going on for over 100 years in this little town in New York, right outside of New York City.
It's got to be so crazy, like seeing Lenny Kravitz and De Niro hammering dogs. Like, I'm like, what? I can't believe this went this far.
It's exciting. It really is. But again, those are the moments, and especially you with your background and experience, the blood, sweat, and tears that
absolutely
can go into just one day of work, and anything that can go wrong will go wrong at any given time.
Yeah.
So all of those things that happen when you have these types of, small victories under your belt, within your business, it makes everything worth it. It makes all the
sacrifice.
Exactly. So, it's an exciting part of our business, for sure.
There were so many assets that and what's crazy is how much it benefited with you going off and doing your own thing, and then being able to take those tools and bringing them back in. And then when you started showing me all the different angles on like where you could get the business to go, and then when you started telling me about Goldbelly, because I do want to get into, what do you want to get into first? Well, what happened first? Were you started selling the mustard because so many people wanted the mustard, and then it turned into, all right, cool, we can start doing more things online, and then that turned into getting the hot dogs on the Goldbelly? What was the first step with you even going online with anything? Because I remember the last time I was down there, you were like, the mustard, you can't get it right now. You're like, you could sell this for $600 on the internet. You're like, you know what I mean? So like, I'm really interested into, because that's a whole nother monster of business now. So like, what were the steps, or how did you guys even get, because now you got the food truck going, you got the machine pumping out, there's all this stuff going. And then were you like, hey, let's mass produce the mustard? What came first?
So again, we noticed over the years that people really gravitated to our mustard, whether they enjoyed it on our hot dog or they wanted to take it home to use it, you know, for their food at home. So we started to have our mustard made, which was probably back in the late 90s or so, early 2000s. And then we just really sold it at our store in Mamaroneck. And then, you know, we said, well, why don't we try to get into a couple of grocery stores? And then we would notice that people would come and they'd say, hey, listen, I'm from Miami. I need 100 hot dogs that I want to take back to Miami with me.
I love doing stuff like that.
Right? Or I'm driving to Pennsylvania. I need 50 hot dogs and I need them all foil wrapped so they stay warm so that they'll be good in time. You know, I remember when I was living in Louisiana, my mom brought me a Walter's hot dog wrapped in foil or so on her like 2.5 hour flight. But it was just like, maybe we may not have a brick and mortar, you know, more brick and mortars throughout the United States, but we should be able to make it pretty easy for people who want our product to be able to get it. So it's actually a really funny story that my sister had a meeting with a pretty large family-owned grocery store in Westchester County called DeChico's and Sons, and they have 9 locations, and they're opening up a few more. And they wanted to carry our mustard in their stores, in their grocery stores. And she went on that meeting to really pitch our mustard to get it in there in the stores. And, you know, fast forward the clock a little bit, is now they're married and expecting their first baby. So
that's crazy.
Who would have thought a meeting about mustard in a grocery store would lead to, you know, a love story? But the mustard came first. And one of the things with Goldbelly is, you know, Goldbelly approached us when they had really first started. We're talking like 2016 or so. And 2016, 2017, we were talking to them, and they wanted our mustard, but they wanted our hot dogs too. And at the time, we weren't really in a place to kind of take on this whole new business of, all right, how are we going to get our hot dogs available for retail and everything that goes into it, and then the demand for it and how to really scale that type of business. So we started small with the hot dogs and the mustard on a small retail level in about 15 different grocery stores in our Westchester County surrounding area. And then once we felt we really understood the business, the manufacturer behind it, you know, the supply chain that goes with it, we really told Goldbelly at that time is we're ready to go. And
I want to just interrupt because it's very important that you guys did that, because you didn't get ahead of yourselves and you learned. There's so many things that you guys do in a very cautious manner that, like, really, because you give a shit about the business so much. But like, if you would have overstepped your boundary and would have been just looking at money, you could have completely tanked the entire business by not being able to keep up with orders, not understanding how to do it. Like, that's huge that you guys took a step back, and you did that with the 5 months being shut down to get ready. And like, there's things, I mean, the story's awesome in itself, but there is business inside of here that if you pay attention to what you're saying, these are crucial moments that you evolved and structured, and you didn't overshoot. And then when you were ready, you made the move. Yeah. And then because of that, you were way more successful than if you would have just grabbed the money early and then not been able to keep up. It would have been headaches and fighting. And listening to how planned out this is my favorite part of the story, because you're prepping before you do anything.
Yeah. I think what's important, you know, with that too, is that, you know, as a family, we work together as a team and we talk everything through.
Yeah. And,
you know, once we really understand why we're making the decisions that we are, it's, you know, hard, because of course it's really hard not to have that type of microwave mentality. We want everything now, and we want it to be a sprint and not a marathon. Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't work like that.
It's always the marathon.
Yeah.
With a broken leg.
Right. So yeah, we needed, and listen, all, you know, business moves we made, they haven't all turned to gold, you know, but over the years, of course, there have been a lot of people that said, we want to open up Walters in every major city around the country, and we want to take this business on, and we want you to open up 1 million more locations. And, you know, we've learned from some mistakes that we've made in the past with that. And this was some business venture that we really wanted to be cautious about because we feel that it is a very important step to our business in the future, where though we may not want to open up hundreds of Walters all around the country,
You can get your product out.
we can get our product out, and we can really teach people how to make it the way we're doing it here.
I like that aspect of it too.
We're not going to give you 100% of the secret.
No.
But we'll give you about 98% of the
Yeah.
secret. But no, and the fact that, you can get it. And that's one of the biggest things that is so gratifying about it as well, because people can have maybe they're attached to Walters from their life for different life moments. Maybe it was from a birthday, wedding, prom, whatever it may be, a birth of their child. And now them living anywhere in the country, they can kind of almost relive those moments, or we can still be there for them when they want us.
Yeah.
And they don't have to come to Mamaroneck or our store in White Plains to be able to get that experience. So it's something that we're proud of. We looked at this opportunity with Goldbelly as a partnership, and they were really patient with us. And they were really willing to work with us to kind of make sure that it was going to go. We had a level of expectation of what we wanted and how we wanted customers to receive it, and how to get it and how quickly they can get it and things like that. So
What was that like when you turned it on? Like turned on Goldbelly, and it was like, okay, let's see what happens, and then like mustard and all this stuff. It had to have been crazy.
again, we never really had a shipping business before, right? So
Yeah, shipping T-shirts is a pain in the ass.
So once we and we're not really big on the whole teasers things, like, oh, and 2 weeks we have a huge announcement or something like that. So we were just kind of like, all right, today's the day. Let's announce
Let it rip.
Let it rip. And we had obviously a forecast and expectations of what to expect in the production of our hot dogs, our buns, our mustard, the shipping material that we need to ship all the boxes and everything that we have here. And we have a really loyal customer base. We're talking about generations and generations of customers that came out and showed their support on day one. So immediately after day one, we're like, up the mustard, up the hot dogs, up the shipping supplies. Let's go. Like, we have something here. Now let's really figure out how to perfect it and grow it. And that was something that I think Goldbelly really took on initially, was that they saw this really kind of cool family history story, a great product. And they really helped us. They really worked in a partnership relationship to make sure that we had the exposure that we needed as well for people who had never heard of Walters before, to be able to be kind of put in front of them in a whole new way. And, we really grew it little by little. And then the pandemic hit. And we didn't really know what that meant for any of our businesses. But we started seeing that obviously people were going to start staying home. And that's really when Goldbelly took off. Like, really, as a company, that's when they as a business started getting some of the biggest names in the food industry that now have restaurants that were closed that now can put together these types of take-home kits and things like that. And, it really allowed us to get our product out to more people. We had an opportunity to go on Good Morning America as well. And that was a huge thing when they wanted to support local businesses. And for about a month, we were just shipping our hot dog kits nationwide. And I think that's just something that really kind of jump-started our business a little bit. And it's something that we're really proud of. It's something that we monitor very carefully as well. And especially now, even given kind of how things are within, whether it's the economy, shipping right now, raw materials, we're doing everything possible to make sure that everything is what it's supposed to be. And we're really proud of that. We're really proud of us as a team kind of doing, controlling what we can control, and Goldbelly as a huge, as a huge company now that really exploded, looking out for us as well.
It's got to have felt good when, you started working with Goldbelly, and then with the pandemic, and then having a way to pivot to keeping your business running because it's online. And then I think what also happened during that time is it made a lot of generations that weren't normally buying groceries online. They weren't buying their food online. Like my parents never did like online pickup at the grocery store and all that. And then when they started learning how to do that, now like my dad keeps getting yelled at by my mom because he knows how to use Amazon. So like when you have these other generations now that are now able to be like, hey, like, you know, we can do this. And then now, you know, when everybody stayed home and you know, I remember when that was huge, when like people just started getting things off of Amazon, and then you started, you know, like I was ordering food to the studio, and that was the first time where I was like, oh wow, this is like really easy to just get Uber Eats and Goldbelly and all these other things that are going on now, where it was something that I just never used because it wasn't something I grew up doing.
Right.
But now that like it's all kind of settling down and we're finding this new way of living, as far as I say that in the facet of there's things that people are now still doing, like ordering their groceries online and picking it up because it's way easier.
Right.
So now that like you have people now that are just accustomed to using things like Goldbelly, that had to have just completely changed the game for you guys with getting the hot dog kits, because now there's people that didn't realize that you could get, like I told you, I had a girl reach out to me and was like, what was that hot dog you were eating? And I was like, yo, Walters. And I think it was somebody who was local and they were in Florida. And she's like, how do I get it? And I was like, I think they have their stuff on Goldbelly. And then she's like, I found it. I'm ordering a kit and I'm getting it sent. And I was like, yo, send me pictures. But like, that's cool now how there's that kind of networking, and there's the ability that like you can now literally get all these different foods from all over the place. But now it's become normal to have a hot dog kit sent to you, or people would maybe have thought that was foreign if everything wouldn't have stopped.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that was kind of like, that was almost like a test pilot for how can this business overall run. And for us during that time too, something that I think is worth mentioning is that we had this idea of let's send our hot dog kits to some of our friends who are also food bloggers or in the industry as well. So I mean, I have to talk about Nick Solaris or Mike Puma for Gotham Burger, and George Tappy from Booze and Burgers, and Chef Josh Capon and all these different people who posted, who got our Goldbelly kits and then posted cooking demos on how to make our hot dog as well, and really helped us reach a new audience of people as well who didn't know our product. So it was a very scary time, and a sense of community where everyone was really trying to help each other and work together and figure things out. And I think that's something too that just kind of made things almost feel normal. It gave people a sense of normalcy, that they could maybe have the things they want still being at home. Where we were having a lot of people just in Westchester County order these take-home kits from Goldbelly, and it's exciting to see where it's going to go as a business and what it means for us. But it's just something that we're really proud of, that people, no matter where they are, can get our product, and it's the same one.
And you guys have, because I think you told me about it, or on the package, doesn't it tell you where you can go, where you can watch a video?
Yeah.
Because like that was genius to me, where I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I think I even watched the video. And when I make it tomorrow, I'll refresh myself, because now that I made them once, because you know how it is when you make something. So like, all right, This is my second time. Now I'm going to really pay attention to the steps, because I'm not nervous about making it. And you can make fun of me all you want. It's a hot dog, and you can still overcook them. You can still screw a hot dog up. So to me, it was like, to be able to watch that video and then do it exactly how you do it. Now it's not just like you're getting a hot dog off a Goldbelly and you're throwing it in the microwave. Like they're taking you through, okay, well, this is how they make it. So now you're making a Walters hot dog and then eating it. So you're not selling them a hot dog. You're selling them the experience of Walters, which is what you guys give a shit so much about giving to people.
Yeah.
That was such a unique, awesome way to do that. So like, how did the video go about?
So that was something that my sister Catherine did. She's one of our grill masters, and it was something that she did, and that was one of the biggest things. Is all right. Well, if we're gonna send the hot dogs, the buns, the mustard, we want people to kind of have that same type of experience. So if we can do a step-by-step demo, which is a couple of minutes, people can feel more confidently that they don't just have to throw it on a grill or put it in a microwave or boil it or try to, make it something that it's really not, but they can still do it our authentic way in, 7 or 8 minutes, and they have it just as we would want them to in Mamaroneck. So that's really how that kind of came along. But yeah, it's a step-by-step video. So on our package of hot dogs, it says it has a link. It has a link on exactly what to do and how to do it step by step. So you don't have to be a chef to be able to do it, but in about 10 minutes you will become a Walters Grill Master for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's something that's fun that goes along with it. One, a really cool story I have is that it was this young lady whose father was turning 65. That was his birthday present, and she was saying one of like these great life moments that she shared with her father, because he loved Walters and he had moved away, was now for his birthday, not only was I able to present this gift to him, but that's what he wanted for dinner that night, and we were able to cook it together and have that type of experience,
Yeah.
So again, that ties into like what we're all about.
And the family, and then, and then the videos now teaching the people how you would have taught an employee. So like it's so cool to me how you've taken a generation's idea and then how you guys just keep the creativity to keep putting that idea and different assets to keep bringing it all together with like, because even when you were saying that, I'm like, man, because if you would get a kit and you would have it as a family and then you're cooking together as a family, it's like everything you guys do, you're pumping the idea and the love and the generation from your grandfather into everything you're doing, and then to be able to put that into something that people take home, it's almost like you can't really put a price on that, because you're giving somebody generational love through food, and then you're walking them through how to make it. You have all the products to do it, and then it's got to be cool to hear stuff like that where you're like, holy shit, we just, this person hit me up and like they had this moment with their family, because you're just used to people getting that are there. And like I said before, I saw how you were when I ate it. So it's like for you to be able to see how many people you're touching through all these different assets, it's got to be mind blowing at times.
It is. There's nothing else to say, but it is mind blowing all the time, because that's, again, it's just something that my great grandfather Walter 102 years ago, he wouldn't be able to comprehend that this is where we are in 2021, or even my grandfather. But
that's so crazy that generational message has gone on this long without it being interrupted.
But that's what was so important. Is that my great grandfather Walter passed that on to my grandfather Gene, and then he really instilled that within us. And I think it's the love that we have for him and the family, and how it's been in our family business. No one has come in and taken control of it. It's been our family that's been running it for over 100 years. And
it's almost like you're coming into your family's dinner. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like it's like when you go places, sometimes you feel like, okay, here's your food, but it's almost like you're going through an open door, and it'd be the same experience if you guys were having family Sunday dinner and then you were like, hey, come on, sit at the table. Like, you know what I mean? You're getting to sit in on a part of what your family does. And it's not as if your family's giving it to them. You are a part of the family. And and I point that out because that's how it feels when you go down there. It is not the regular vibe of picking up a hot dog and walking down the street. You get a feel of like you're now in you're at your Sunday supper. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's really cool how you guys have been able to keep that even a thing, and that it hasn't been ruined by social media. It hasn't gotten too big to a point where like it feels super corporate. Like it still feels very much how it's being explained here today. Awesome. It's not easy to do.
No, there's a lot that goes into that on a daily basis, right? And you saying that means a lot, because we work really hard to try to, do our best, again, control the things that we can control, to make that, our priority. And that's really what it is. That's what it's all about. This is what we do. This is what we do really well. Our menu is our hot dog, and then obviously our sides and what we have with our fries and ice cream and milkshakes and things like that. But this is our hot dog. This is the recipe that my great grandfather came up with. It's the love, the passion that my grandfather had, and how he cooked it, and how he would make sure everything was perfect. And this is how we're serving it to you in the same style that we did over 100 years ago.
It's crazy. Moving forward, because I know you're like getting like you're kind of expanding the menu, and you did like the foot long thing. Let's kind of get into, because I do want to wrap up, because you have a long ride home, and I want to get into and I'll get them out of the fridge, but like what you guys are stepping into now with new products, and like kind of like what's coming down the pipe for the new version of Walters, because it seems you guys are constantly evolving or slowly evolving into new things. Sure. So like what new things are you offering now in store or online? And then I'll give you a minute to kind of go over that, and then I'll grab the stuff out of the fridge.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is we launched our cocktail franks, AKA pigs in a blanket. So That's been a project that we've been working on for almost 2 years, but it's a buttery puff pastry dough with our cocktail size hot dog. And we sell those on Goldbelly as well, and they're in about 15 different grocery stores or so. Oh, cool, here they are. Nice. But it's something that we're really proud of. That yes, you can get those on Goldbelly. It's a great addition as an app for any type of.
I didn't even have the camera on you. I'm so dumb. I didn't even realize I did that. So
we'll just cut that part out.
Yeah. So you got the cocktail franks on Goldbelly.
Yeah, so the cocktail franks are on Goldbelly. It's something that we're really proud of because it's almost 2 years of work, just from making sure that the buttery puff pastry was just how we wanted and our hot dog was just the right size we wanted it. And then we're talking about the packaging and everything that went into it. So
I love all the packaging because it all comes back to the pagoda.
It has to.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to, right? And it's so cool because the picture for our logo with everything, it's a picture that was taken from 1928 with my great-grandfather Walter in the white chef coat.
Hold it up a little higher.
Yeah. So you could probably see it better on my shirt or so, but it's with him there. So if you see Walters or whatever, that's kind of a picture from 1928. But we're really excited about that. And we launched our footlong hot dog for the month of October. It is something that we're doing just for the month of October. It's just
How did that go
different.
over?
It went over really well.
Yeah.
It went over really well. We're proud of that. Again, that was a project that took almost about a year to do. So again, these are ideas that we're working on behind the scenes that just, projects that are on top of, everything that goes into what we're doing on a daily basis. But when we're able to do it and see it kind of go to market, no matter how short or long the period is going to be, it's again, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it, and to kind of see a smile on someone's face makes it all worth it. But yeah, the cocktail franks, the footlongs, and then listen, we really want to grow our retail division. We're proud that you can find our mustard on Amazon or get it with, get it on Goldbelly, get it through our stores. But we want to get into more grocery stores. We want to get into more grocery stores with the hot dogs, the mustard, the cocktail franks. So that's really a key element to our business over the next few years, and really kind of seeing what goes into it. So we're excited about that. Down the road, I really want to get a veggie dog, just to kind of keep up with the times and to really kind of be able to bring in some customers who don't eat meat at all.
Yeah.
We just have not found we want to find the right chef that can really come up with a recipe that feels like a Walter's hot dog, but as a veggie dog. So any chefs that are listening, it's something we've been working on for 4 years now. But we have not found a product yet that we stamping our name.
It's going to be I feel like you'll be able to pull it off, but that's not an easy task to do.
It's not by any means. So we're not rushed to just put it on the menu. And of course, we could be selling them today if we wanted to. There's loads of different types of veggie dogs out there, but we want to come up with our Walters veggie dog to be able to kind of have this new customer base that we want to try. We want to include everyone, right? We want to be able to offer something to everyone. And we think that if we're able to do that, that's going to be great. But again, it's not an easy task, and it's something we're committed to, but we're not going to just put anything out there. We want it to feel like, okay, it's a veggie dog, but it's a Walters veggie dog.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and then you can kind of stand apart from doing your own thing with that because you want the experience for them to have as if they were having a regular Walters dog.
Yeah. And who knows about this footlong hot dog? Because it definitely makes our cooking process more difficult, right? With our grill space.
Oh yeah, because you got to cut the whole thing down, and because it's basically how many dogs? Is it like two dogs? Yeah, so then it's taking up the space of
right. So if you have an order of 10 footlongs, on top of 100 hot dogs that are probably cooking nonstop.
Do you guys do double dogs where they ask for 2 dogs and 1 bun?
Yeah, so that's our double dog that's on the menu. So think of it like a double cheeseburger, but as a hot dog.
Yeah.
Our hot dogs are split down the middle, so they're flat. So yeah, 2 on 1 bun. The double dog is a great way to go, especially if people want just one bun to go with double the meat. But if you do that next time you come up, and anyone who's listening,
I gotta hit Angelo
try
up and
it.
Come down.
And Angelo's gonna go for this one. The double puffy dog, which is the double with 2 layers of potato puff. So it's going to go hot dog puffs.
Oof.
But then kind of add that toasted pretzel bun to that magic as well.
Yeah.
And now you got yourself a party.
That's good. That's fun, man. I love that, I love that you have all of the I love that you have all the different things that you're doing, and I love the fact that you have you're excited about serving different food, and you're excited about doing all this different stuff, and like you could still feel how much you care about the business, and like you're excited to change the menu, and you put different things on there, but you still have the original twist, but then you have the doubles and all this different stuff.
So it's with that, it's really about how can we use our product to the max without having to add all these other things, right? We don't want to add burgers and chicken fingers and all these other products. We want our hot dog to shine.
I like that.
So how can we do it? Well, maybe we could do it in cocktail franks now, right? Maybe we can do it as the double dog or as the puffy dog or as a footlong, where it's still our product, but it's being used in a more unique way. So
the other stuff that you have there, is that what comes in the hot dog pack?
Yeah, so these are our packs of hot dogs here. It's a pound, so it comes 12 hot dogs in a pack or so. And you'd want to get it with our mustard. Now, the mustard you can buy through us directly. It's in about over 20 different grocery stores in like the metro New York area in Westchester County. But you can get it on Amazon. You can get it in Goldbelly with the hot dog packs. And one of the cool things about Goldbelly too is that we'll also put our buns that we use as well, which is our good friends at Arnold. They've been making our buns for a really long time. But so you can get the whole hot dog kit, the buns, the mustard, the hot dogs,
and the tutorial,
and then get the cocktail franks as well. And there's even some merch that you can get through Goldbelly as well. So
that's dope, man.
So we're excited because Goldbelly really wants us to add a couple of our menu items to the list that we offer that are staples that we know people would really enjoy. But now we have to figure out how can we do that properly. So we'll see how that looks over the next year or two. But that's something that we're really excited about. But one thing too about pop-ups, that's kind of a big part of our business too when you talked about like unique things, because the first pop-up we ever did was with Black Tap in New York City, which came out on the scene with the crazy milkshakes and the burgers and everything. And that was a huge pop-up that we did for a weekend where the lines were going down the blocks and blocks and blocks of customers. And we said, why can't we do more of that, right? Why can't we work with friends and kind of create this type of thing? And that's, over the years, is something that we're really proud of, where we're taking our hot dog and we're using it in a fun, unique way, whether that's, with our friends at Smokehouse, and we've done a ton of them with Hoodoo Brown Barbecue in Connecticut. We did it with Chef Angelo as well, my good buddy. So we're always looking of who we can partner with to do an exciting type of pop-up event. And we're really proud of that type of little Walters twist as well.
And you guys had the perfect setup. When I saw, it sucks because I had car trouble and I was going to surprise Angela and was going to drive down, but I had just gotten the van and something wasn't running right. And that was the first time I saw your area, where I was like, oh my God, there's this entire space. And then like I saw all the people there and they were doing the pizzas and everything that was going on. And I texted him and was like, dude, that place looks awesome. And he's like, it's perfect for pop-ups. And then when I was down there, I was texting him and then he called me and we're on the phone and I'm like, dude, that must have been so rad to do that pop-up here. And he's like, it's perfect. Yeah. It's a perfect location to be doing multiple things because you have the eating grove and you have the parking lot and there's nothing really that you guys miss on being able to do anything with that business. Right. It's pretty remarkable.
But then to also be able to do that with friends too. I mean, Angela, we went to high school together. So to be able to do that, 20 years later?
That's crazy.
And, Christian Petroni, we went to high school together.
Because the three of you all go to high school together?
Yeah. We went to high school together. I was there just for my first year, but that year was a pretty magical one.
That's nuts that the three of you went and what all three of you were doing.
Yeah.
Like I just saw that they were just cooking with Martha Stewart.
Of course.
And it was awesome seeing Angela with the backwards trucker hat.
And you would expect
death metal shirt
less.
on or whatever.
Now, the picture they probably didn't show was he probably took that hat and stuck it on Martha Stewart's head too, and she was probably rocking it out.
Yeah, I want to text him about that because I was like, dude, that's so crazy. And he just handled it like a pro when he was explaining what he was doing to her, because he posted the clip. And then I was like, man, that must have been a really cool experience to do that.
But it's cool to see that we come from a small area outside of New York City, but the talent that's there. I mean, when you're talking about Angelo's talent and the passion that goes into it, again, that's the type of food that you're talking about as far as an end product. So of course, as a business owner, as a family-owned business, as a small business, that's exactly what we want a part of. Let's create more of those types of things. So to being able to do pop-ups with him and Christian Petroni and Hoodoo Brown and all these friends that we've created along the way, and then to kind of share our recipes and ingredients together and kind of come up with these bangers, it's what makes it all worth it. So I'm really excited. We have a couple of pop-ups coming up in 2022 that we're really excited about. But we're always down. We're always down. If it makes sense, then it's something that we love to do. We love to try to do about 3 or 4 of them a year.
Yeah. When I was talking to you before the show, I can't wait till the new studio and everything's set in place, because I definitely want you to do hot dogs in town.
We're here.
And like that's what's going to be cool, is like when I'm set up and ready to go, I'm going to be able to start being able to bring all these different people to this super small town. Especially like there's nothing to eat in this town except for pizza. There's like a taco joint and the Merced on Main up the street. Other than that, it's pizza places and hairdressers. So like I'm so excited to start being able to like not only have people like yourself on, but then to share that food experience that you're talking about with a town that is dying for somebody to do something. And it'll be so much fun to be able to like, because we could have done the podcast, then we would have just walked through doing the tutorial of making the hot dogs and just let you do your thing and then get that out there and then, either do it same day or come back. But to be able to like, I'm so pumped to be able to give so many awesome, unique styles of food like yourself, not only the story to get out there, but then people to experience it in the same fashion. It's going to be really cool to do. I want to thank you so much for coming on. You had to drive. I knew we would get this done. Everybody's super busy. And then like the way the timing was out, and then I was just glad you still wanted to do the show. What you guys have done with that business and the integrity of what was instilled way back from your great-grandfather to your grandfather to you, it is completely 100% shown through your work ethic. The taste, the quality, everything is at a level that is above the quality. I bring it up all the time. I told somebody I had massive goals once, and they were like, hey, man, that's really hard to get there. And I'm like, but even if I get halfway, it's still way better than what I would have held myself to. And I feel like you guys have achieved what exactly he wanted, and you never let go of that. And I feel like that's what the most important thing to get out of this podcast is that you never let go of the integrity of the business, and then everything else flourished around that. And I think sometimes people try and make money too much, or they get lost on why it was even created. And I feel like you guys are the perfect example of a home run from any asset of you can take an idea and you can grow it, and you don't have to ruin it by overly doing something. You guys like really like keep a very even keeled business structure that like you hit 100% on what you're trying to do all the time, instead of being like, oh, well, it's cool if you order it, but going there in person, like everything that you have, because I've made them, like it's a home run in every asset that you're doing. And like, you have really outdone yourself for taking a generational idea and showcasing it to the public and then giving them that. And that must have been so hard to do with so many opportunities of people wanting to water this business down. And hats off to your family for just keeping a generation alive like that, for somebody in 2021 to drive down there. And it's the same experience that they had when none of these people were alive. But it means a lot that you came on the show. I like to think that the show levels up, and you coming on here was definitely a level up on where I'm at with doing this. And just thank you once again for coming on. And I want to give you a moment to let everybody know how they can get Walters, what they can get from Gold Belly, where they can follow your social media, because your social media is fun too. So like, I want to give you a moment to kind of just plug everything that you want for Walters.
Appreciate it. Well, again, thanks so much. It's an honor to be here and to spend the time. And I knew our conversation that we had a lot to talk about. Yeah. And I look forward to the next time we'll be here. We're going to cook some hot dogs next time around.
Yes.
But yeah, listen, Walters Hot Dogs. So you can find us on Instagram and on Facebook at Walters Hot Dogs. You can follow our truck at Walters Truck Life. I'm at Gene Christian. And our hot dogs, goldbelly.com. Search for Walters Hot Dogs. If you've never tried Goldbelly before and you sign up for an account with Goldbelly, they actually give you a promo for your first order as well. So a lot of customers who have never ordered from Goldbilly, here's an incentive to order as well. So we're really proud of it. You can order our hot dogs. Show one more time. We got our hot dogs. We've got our mustard. We've got our cocktail franks as well. So again, everything that we sell in the local grocery stores in Westchester County from our stores, you can get nationwide. So if you have any questions or anything, please hit us up. We will respond to you. But we're excited. If you come to Mamaroneck, we're at 937 Palmer Avenue, Mamaroneck, New York. That is where the pagoda is. So if you're in the tri-state New York area, I would definitely say come check it out for yourself. We have another store in White Plains on Mamaroneck Avenue in White Plains, and you can find all that information at waltershotdogs.com. So thank you again, and I really look forward to the next one.
Thank you, man. I'm excited to plan that. Maybe we'll involve Angela. I can't wait to have the new studio and just have like a playground to bring people at. If you're a first-time listener, first-time watcher, first-time anything with Never Again, go to neveragainstudio.com. That has all the podcasts on there for video and audio. You can listen right on the webpage. If you want to follow it because you're a podcast person, Spotify, iTunes, all that, Never Again Studio. You can subscribe. YouTube, if you prefer to watch it, that is Never Again Studio on YouTube, and you can like and comment. That always helps out. I'm trying to grow this the YouTube subscriptions out, so if you want to subscribe to that, I appreciate it. And there's plenty of guests in there ranging from everybody, so if you're into podcasts, this is a pretty unique show, and I have on a bunch of different guests. We partnered up with Keystone Munitions. We now have nazoammo.com. If you're looking for anything munition wise, we can ship in Pennsylvania, or you can do pickups at the studio. So that is nazoammo.com, neveragainstudio.com. Thank you once again. I am absolutely starving because I didn't have breakfast, and now I have to force myself to save those for tomorrow. But I'm sure those guys are going to be pumped making it, and I'm going to do the video, and I'll post a ton of pictures. Thank you again, man. This was a blast, and I feel like we hit everything I wanted to hit.
Awesome. We'll see you next time.
Never Again Radio. Get into it, brother.